too much of a noise barrier. I hope you can hear me. So talking aside, let's begin with a little centering. So close your eyes and take a deep breath. And as you exhale, release the breath down into the pelvis and feeling the pelvis becoming big, wide, and heavy. Feel the pelvis opening, descending towards the earth. Feel your spine, your tailbone lengthening down. And somewhere, either from the spine or from the center of the pelvis, extend this big, heavy taproot. You can think of this heavy tail, heavy taproot coming down towards the center of the earth. And as you inhale, draw through that taproot the energy from Mama. Just drinking the life force, and as you exhale, release all that needs to be recycled and renewed. Continue breathing, drawing through the taproot with your eyes closed. Exhaling down. And each time you exhale, you're becoming softer and more relaxed. And as you inhale, you feel like lengthening from the waist, from the hips, all the way up, reaching with your head, with your crown towards the sky to receive that Shiva, that cosmic light from above. And dropping the shoulders, rolling them slightly back. And if you like, you can bring the awareness, inhaling the earth, and as you exhale, bringing down the cosmic light. So we have the love and the power of the Shakti of Mother Earth energy, the life force, and that cosmic light of Shiva, that totally serene bliss and delightfulness, stillness, yumminess of the sky. And just notice what's present in your body tonight. Maybe a sensation of heat or sensation of relaxation. Notice whether any thoughts or feelings, or simply being present with my voice. I'm feeling really excited. Love talking to you. And you can open your eyes with the next exhale. And we're gonna do a little movement. So I invite you to place the hands into the Jnana Mudra, which is the thumb and index finger touching. And then place the hands, I need to raise so you can see that, in front of your womb or hara, the place underneath the belly button, with the left mudra above the right. So the right mudra is a little higher. It's still at the lower part of the pelvis, and the left is right underneath. And just slowly, slowly, with your eyes closed or half closed, begin to raise them to the heart, holding the mudra at the heart. And just breathing into the mudra. And then opening the hands, being above your left hand, the receptive, the feminine part of you, the right hand representing the giving, the projective masculine part of you. And we're gonna bring them together at the heart with Namaste. Namaste, the divine within me honors, recognizes the divine within you, and there is no separation, we are one. So that's our first tantric practice, tantric union. We already did other practice, the breathing, but that's the first tantric union, that inner masculine, feminine which is truly what Tantra is about. So today's topic is Tantra, the path of awakening. You may notice that I've been broadcasting this on my main profile of Facebook, not on Pink Lotus Tantra this time, because I'm hoping that people who are totally new to Tantra or who don't know much about it will also be interested to find out. So if you who are watching it, you consider yourself advanced Tantrika, those things might be already known to you, and there's always something more. I always learn every day. And if you're totally new, you please feel free to ask questions, and I try to answer. You can always type questions. So what is Tantra? That is the question. I believe Tantra in our society is a subject of a lot of misunderstanding, and let's try to shed some light on what Tantra is and experience some of it in the body tonight. So the first practice we did today, extending the heavy taproot into the earth, gave us a clue what Tantra is or where it begins. It's a practice that's grounded in the earth, grounded in the body. So that's if all the practices, whether or all the spiritual paths that have that grounding in the earth, you can consider them tantric because they are beginning with that. So Tantra is a spiritual practice or spiritual path of awakening, of finding or realizing your true nature. In other paths it can be called enlightenment or self-realization, all those fancy names. I just like to call it coming home, of realizing who you are. The symbolic is the tantric lovers that merge with one another and merge with everything else, and then fly to the cosmos and then come back to the earth knowing who they are, continue to live in their bodies but in connection with everything around. So in the West, Tantra seems to be synonymous with glorified sex or glorified sexuality, and that's what most people think Tantra is about. And it's just really one small part of it. One needs to see the bigger picture of what really is. So it's about going beyond this reality into the true reality of things. I was about to, you might want your goddess laugh, tell your plans. So I was about to do some major talking, but I'm just feeling like I want to bring my book again, My Sacred Journey for a Messy Life. And I want to actually share you what I wrote about Tantra, because yeah, it kind of sums it up. So this is like, if you have the book, it's on a page 23, and it's called, the chapter is called Tantra for Dummies, kind of like for dummies but for dummies. Tantra, an ancient art and science of enlightenment, flourished in Golden Age of India and other parts of the world under different names, then was lost underground for centuries. It had been predicted to re-emerge at the end of the 20th century, which is true. Timeless so, the word Tantra has permeated Western civilization enough that everyone, even my mom, knows that Tantra has something to do with sex. This is where the common, limited knowledge ends and the variety begins. The more orthodox ones imagine Tantra as a strenuous practice involving long sitting meditation while visualizing varied Tibetan deities in great detail, as I've experienced myself in a Tibetan Tantric Buddhist center in London, where the most explicit sexual gesture was a lengthy Kala Chakra ritual in which we mixed and ingested jam and milk, symbolizing the union of blood and semen. Others may have visions of hedonistic orgies with wine, drugs, and multiple sexual partners. In between, there is the anticipation of sexual gymnastics, equating Tantra with the Kama Sutra, a variety of sexual positions, and all weird control sexual yoga practices that may take all the spontaneity out of sex. Some equate Tantra with a system of learning on how to have more pleasure. More pleasure you will have indeed, but that's not the focal point. You will also find Tantra advertised on kinky websites and back pages of newspapers next to prostitution services. Many women wary of Tantra for fear they might have to become polyamorous. Many men seek it for the same reason. Many seek Tantra hoping to become better lovers, to become more orgasmic. Others hope to heal their childhood traumas, sexual or not, guilt and shame about sexuality. Few people know that Tantra has something to do with moving energy, and even fewer will seriously consider it as a valid spiritual path of self-realization, a direct entryway to God. Through times are changing, and so there is hope. So let's pause over there. It's actually, we're going to be continuing with this chapter. So let's just think about what I said. So if you think Tantra is about sex, or to disappoint you, it's not about sex at all. It uses sexual energy as the vehicle of enlightenment. It uses it as the force to take us home, because that's the force that created us, right? Sexual energy is the most profound force there is. It's so powerful, it can bring spirit into a body, into a form. So it's the energy that creates, that transforms that unseen world that's invisible into the world of form. But Tantra really is about love. That's what it is. I remember Osho used to say that Tantra takes the sex out of sex. And realizing that it's all about love, it's all about the heart, because sex energy has never meant to be disconnected from love. It is what we did primarily in religions. We put sex here and love here, but truly it is the energy of love, and which means a disconnect. The two principles, the two divine principles, Shiva, Shakti, consciousness and energy, are part of cosmic unity. They are not dual. They are meant to be always together. And sex energy illuminated with consciousness, that's the union, is love. That's how love is being made. That's the love making, when two people are making love, so to speak. If they're fully present, they truly make love, the essence of love. And when those two, when we separate the consciousness, when you separate the sexual energy from consciousness, then sex energy becomes literally blind. It becomes it doesn't go home, and then there's the separation, or the feeling of separation. So Tantra among many is about to bring you home to realization who you truly are, and the fact that everything is made of love. Actually, it's that vibration that draws organizes consciousness into forms and creates the whole universe. And just a couple of days ago, I received this powerful download of information, and I just wish I could connect to it now when I'm talking. Those things usually come to me when I'm alone in nature, and it's just so wow, and it all makes sense, and I forget about it. But it was the download I received was about something to do with this planetary situation, even our own bodies, that disease, any disease, whether it's physical or whether it's societal, planetary, is to do with the lack of consciousness. We always tend to look at Shakti, we always tend to look at the energy. There's something wrong with the energy moves the wrong way, and energy gets distorted, and bacteria in the body and cells dividing the wrong way, and people behave the wrong way, and that's the energy, right? But the problem is in consciousness, because consciousness holds space for the energy to move. So if there's a lack of consciousness, that energy does not behave in a sinuous wave, in this loving wave. It is not a fall of the energy, it's the lack of consciousness. So one of the prime things in Tantra is we be consciously balancing energy and consciousness, because we know that needs to be that namaste, that union. And when the consciousness and energy are in balance, you can also thinking of the masculine and feminine principle. When they're in balance, divinity flows, and heart is open, and there's no sense of separation. And the moment there's an imbalance of energy and consciousness, we start feeling separate, and the energy that is normally the energy of love begins to get distorted. I was recently talking to a client about this, about when he asked a question about his relationship, about what happens to a woman when she's not feeling held by her man, and she might get emotional, right? She might have emotions, she might get angry, she might get all over the place, because she's not feeling held by the light of the masculine. So her sinuous wave has distorted into an erotic wave. And he doesn't have to deal with her story, he doesn't have to do anything with her emotion, he simply needs to hold space and look at her with loving eyes, with the eyes of consciousness of love. And if you're a man watching this, if you can receive a woman in emotion, whether it's anger or whether it's rage or pain or whatever, if you can give her full presence, just your presence, your full presence will help her to come back to this beautiful wavy state of love. That's the true healing. And that I believe is happening in the world also. So we're receiving all this cosmic light, actually. We're flying through this cosmic fluff, some kind of fluffy, luminous stuff in the part of our galaxy. And so a lot of light is coming on the planet, and which is penetrating all the dark, all the dark places, and a lot of darkness is coming up. But a lot of healing is happening also. So the process of healing happens when there's a consciousness present. And I know I'm mixing things together. Maybe that's a lot of information. I'm not organized. I'm very chaotic, as the feminine energy is. But that's what's coming up. So we are in the process of receiving more consciousness. It may come through in a form of cosmic light, but ultimately that light is to hit our pineal gland and to wake us up, to hit our third eye, to help us to wake up and to be present. So all the unprocessed patterns from the past, all the darkness that has been kept hidden can be permeated with light, can come to the surface, can be processed and resolved. So that brings me to another part of Tantra, which is the emotional clearing, as above, so below. So when you come on a tantric path, you start working with practices that will move energy through your body, and especially through the lower chakras, as many so-called, high enlightening practices may not go there, because for many sort of the male masculine oriented practices, that might be a scary swampy land, so the masculine doesn't like to go down there. But the key of our healing is to permeate whatever we hold in our lower chakras, which is emotional stuff from the past, from our childhood, perhaps even from previous lifetimes, because that is what actually creates the separation, the sense of separation. All those unresolved hurts, all those unresolved emotions, all those samskaras from previous lifetimes. So that patterning, in order for you to be free, to have a free flow of energy moving through the body, has to be resolved, has to be witnessed by consciousness, and transformed and released. So the emotional clearing is a part of being on the path. So we don't do just meditation, as many other paths do. Meditation takes only half the way. Meditation helps you to still the mind and to awaken the third eye, awaken the witness, which is essentially the divine masculine, which is wonderful. It's totally essential for Tantra to have the third eye open, to have that stillness of the mind. But that's only really the preparation for awakening the Shakti, the sexual energy in that stillness. Because once sexual energy awakens consciously, it has a totally different quality. The vibration is magnetic and divinely beautiful. And she will carry you to the place of home. So I know I've been doing a lot of talking here. Let's experience what I just talked about. So the first step, actually, we're gonna awaken the body, because if you're not present in the body, there's not much practice that can happen. So the first step is we want to energize the body, calm body. So you might not see this here because the video is just so small, but I'm sitting cross-legged. So if you can sit cross-legged somewhere on the floor, or any of the lotus, half lotus positions, you can do so, and just bring the hands on your knees, okay? And then begin to rotate the body. This is the easiest movement we can do when I'm sitting up. There's many other movements we can do to wake up the body, but this is just very convenient when I'm sitting on the bed. And so we making circles with the, what is it? Is it hips? No, it's from the waist. The hips are sitting in a position, and I'm circling from the hips, from the waist upwards. And I'm gonna extend the circle to make it big. I hope you're not just watching. I hope that you actually doing this with me, because Tantra is about 90, maybe 95%, maybe 99% of practice, and 1 or 2% of talk. So it's a very experiential. So we're making these big circles, and then we're gonna do what's called the Shakti wave, or the spinal wave. So hands still on the knees. Inhale, push the chest forward, drop the head back, go all the way down, and then drop the head down and push. So as you're inhaling, pushing through the chest, dropping the head back. Exhale, push through the upper back. And just keep moving. You can use your own pace. You can do slow waves and fast waves. You can do shallow, you can do deep. The idea is you are awakening the spine. The spine is crucial in tantric practice. This is where we move the energy up and down. And also along the spine we have all the major chakras that power our body, that are responsible for all the bodily functions and the endocrine glands. Cool. Hope you're breathing. Inhale, exhale. Wonderful. And then raise the arms up. Inhale and exhale. Twist to one side. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale, inhale, exhale. And one more twist to the right and one more twist to the left. Good. And then close your eyes. Hope you enjoyed that little wake up to your body. Resting the hands on the knees. Again, touching the thumb and index fingers together in a Jnana Mudra, eyes closed. And you can just lick your index finger and make a little dot of saliva on your third eye. So as you inhale, you're going to inhale through the third eye and exhale out of the third eye. Just visualize the breath as the beam of light entering and leaving your third eye. You can apply also what's called the inner smile, lifting the corners of the mouth, smiling without moving your lips. Inner smile opens what's called the mouth of God on the back of your skull, helping the Shiva enter the body. There's much more to the inner smile, so we're just doing the simple version today. Notice when you do that smile, that inner smile, you're literally allowing that blissful cosmic consciousness descend down to the body. And hoping your mind has become nice and still. We're kind of doing a seed version, a short practice. So in that stillness, bring your awareness down into the pelvic area and just contract and relax. If you're Shiva, if you're a man, contract and relax your perineum. If you're Shakti, a woman, you want to contract and relax the area around the cervix, or the cervix itself, or the back of the vaginal wall, high up in the yoni. Your eyes are still closed and you're contracting and relaxing. It's called the Mula Bandha, what we're doing, the root lock. So we're contracting, we're locking and releasing, you're letting go of the lock. But we're not just contracting, you're actually lifting. There's this lifting sensation, sucking the energy from the earth and letting go. And if you haven't done so yet, you can magnify this by bringing the heel against the perineum or against the clitoris causing like an additional pressure or catalyst to that energy to flow. So this is just a very delicate sensation. We're not gonna go any further. You're just allowing this energy to flow, and you can open your eyes and just keep that stillness in your body, but keep also that contraction. So contractions happening, contracting, relaxing, or lifting and relaxing, and notice what happens in your body. There's a chance your body will move into gentle undulation, allowing that flow of the Shakti just enliven you. Or it could be just a blissful sense of being alive. If you have more feminine essence in the body, you might actually be moved. You might, whether you're man or woman, you will go into this undulation. But it's not always necessary. Sometimes it's just this feeling of wave that's internal. And just notice what's present, how different you may feel. So the Shiva, that meditation stillness, brings that blissful stillness, that peace, harmony. But essentially that's nothingness. That's the place of stillness before creation. It is the Shakti that brings the ecstasy of aliveness. She brings the life. And that's what distinguishes Tantra from other paths. We are here to experience this embodiment, experience the life in the fullness. So Tantra happens fully present in the body. Is that ecstatic God-Goddess union happening in this physical form. We don't need to leave the body to go somewhere in an abstract space. We are bringing the divinity fully into the embodiment. And alongside, we embracing everything that happens in the creation. So there are no taboos in Tantra. Everything is to be witnessed. Everything has to be fully experienced. Rather than rejecting, judging, we are bringing all that to have a full experience of life. So if you like, you can close your eyes again and focus on the flow of the gentle flow of Shakti in your body, or you can keep them open but staying inwards with the sensation of that yumminess. And I'm going to continue reading a little bit. So when I finished the previous, okay, I'm starting over here. So I mentioned a few things what people think Tantra is, and I'm continuing. Though all the above and many more to say varieties of Tantra do exist, they do not quite portray the heart of Tantra, which exactly is Tantra. It's all about the heart. Heart is the place where the masculine consciousness and feminine energy meet, and love is being made. This is how the world is made, through the dance of consciousness and energy, through the dance of love. That is the union of consciousness and energy, the heavenly God and the earth goddess, and the experience of life as an outflow of their love-making dance. Tantra says a big, welcoming yes to life. It is a spiritual path that says, hey, I don't want to die to experience heaven. I want to experience heaven down here on earth. I want to have a deep, full, and complete experience of all life has to offer. And oh yes, I don't want necessarily wait to drop my body in order to experience death, the place beyond, and the union with God. I want to die now and live through it, one with God, one beyond, and all. So that was another paragraph. So what does it mean that I want to die now and have a body? So essentially, as we doing the practice, we the original personality that we created in order to survive in this world starts getting permeated with the divine light, with the divine personality. And in some more extreme cases, some people actually experience it as the ego death, where the personality goes completely and only the divine being is present. Though for many of us on the path, it's not so dramatic, at least not just yet. There's this gentle, continuous replacing of the egoic personality with the divine personality, which is more the user-friendly version. So when you say, oh, you have to die, ego has to die in order to be enlightened. The ego, what's the ego gonna do? It's gonna put up a big fight and tries to just get its own piece of cake. So the sneaky version is to get the ego job, that is to do the practice and be devoted to the practice and slowly and become beloved, deepest disciple to the soul. So when we employ the ego to become the disciple to the soul, somehow the transformation happens without the ego putting so much fight. So that's a little sneaky tantric way to do that. So we slowly bringing more and more light to the ego, transforming the ego, and until eventually nothing of the original ego remains. Even though I must say there are times when I feel some die-off, when the old parts of me are dropping off and it's really uncomfortable. So there might be those moments. Tantra has been a worldwide phenomenon, probably from time since humans subtly separated from other animal species and started to inquire about their origin. This beautiful Sanskrit word, fusing two other Sanskrit words, tanoti, to expand, and triati, to liberate, comes from an East Indian tradition. However, practices considered tantric by nature can be found throughout the world, since ancient times in almost any spiritually evolved culture, including primitive Aboriginal tribes, including inner pockets of mainstream religions. So it's important to know that Tantra is not necessarily just an Indian, even the name definitely comes from Sanskrit, but I might be simplifying here, so apologies if you feel I'm oversimplifying, but essentially there are two waves of self-realization. It's the tantric way and the yogic way. The yogic way is essentially leaving the body and seeking the divine up in the cosmic space, or up in the abstract space beyond the body. The tantric way is entering the body fully and completely and taking the whole what life has to offer together. So you may find that there's a lot of meditation practices that are aligned more with the yogic, the masculine principle, and then there are paths that are more aligned with the feminine, the feminine earth principle. So that is something to consider. So they may be practices considered tantric in ancient times, in ancient Greece and Egypt and other highly evolved cultures that knew the profound power of our sexual energy. And then the religions came, and what they did, they suppressed the sexual energy, because when your energy is alive, you cannot be controlled. So we got suppressed so we can be controlled and turned away from our truth, our power. So again, I'm beginning to talk too much, so let's just for a moment connect down to the body and just make sure you're breathing, that the breath, the aliveness is present. So far we've talked more about the solo practice, and knowing most of you might think Tantra's got to do something with sex. You might be maybe puzzled. So in order to come to the tantric union with the other, there are certain how you call it, bolts need to be in place. It's true, every now and then it may happen that couple just spontaneously merge with the cosmos, but that happens occasionally only, perhaps to those who've done a lot of practice in the past incarnation. So perhaps they might just come into this life to do this last moment of union. But for most of us, it's a result of the tantric practice. And even most of us who are on this path in this life, we've done many lifetimes of practices before, so that we're drawn to it. So if you feel drawn to Tantra, if you feel that's something that is magnetizing you to it, there's a big chance you've done practices in the past life, or in the past lives, in past incarnations. So we begin with a solo practice because unless you have a clear sensations of energies moving in your body and clear sensations of your third eye open, it might be not a good idea to move into the partner practice, because whatever patterning is still there, it will come to the surface. And if your third eye, if your inner witness is not set in place, you might get lost in the drama, lost in the chaos. So essentially, when this light starts permeating you, when your Kundalini awakens, the divine energy that's flowing through you, all the emotional patterning will be exposed, and you will have to deal with it. So that's why we use practices that are directing this energy to flow in a way that we can tolerate and consciously accommodate. So the practice or the path I've been on for most of my life is called the Ipsalu Tantra, which is my mother path, which is a path of Kundalini awakening. Again, Kundalini is that divine consciousness dash energy moving up your spine and totally transforming your DNA and bringing that divine awakening. It's literally your divine human potential that is helping you to give yourself to the life in the fullest. So we work with this cosmic cobra breath to awaken Kundalini, to awaken our potential, and it's a wonderful practice because it awakens the energy gently and gradually, in a way so the nervous system can accommodate it. If you awaken Kundalini suddenly, it might not be a pleasant experience. It might just burn you up. It might burn you up, or makes a lot of discomfort, both physical and psychological. So the Cosmic Cobra Breath brings that gradual widening of that Kundalini pathway, and allowing that energy to flow more and more. And we begin, the practice itself begins by, guess what, opening the third eye. So you have that clear sensation of clear awareness, that inner witness, that third eye is absolutely essential. And it also opens the root, so there's more consciousness flowing in the body and more energy from here, more sexual energy flowing. So that's the essence of the union. And with each level of cobra breath, there's more and more energy and more chakra opening and happening. And it's truly a beautiful path, but it requires some dedication. I don't want to say discipline, because discipline is kind of hard and something like you have to force yourself. In my experience, the tantric practice has been nothing but just delightful. So it's never been a hardcore, horrible discipline I would have to force myself into. It's something that's very joyous. And the other path I'm aligned with is the practice of the sacred flow, which is kind of a feminine counterpart of the cobra breath, because it's flowing and it's moving, it's involving the whole body, and it balances the masculine and feminine and bringing more and more consciousness and energy into the body through the movement. Both practices can be done as a solo. They can also be done with a partner, and they can also be used as a way of transmuting sexual energy during lovemaking. So I love both practices very dearly, and I definitely would love to share them with you if you feel you're ready to go deeper into the tantric path. Traditionally, I used to teach those in workshops. Each of them, I can share with you a lot of practices here from the video, just for free, just to give you some joy and aliveness in your body. But both of the cobra breath and the sacred flow, they have certain lineages and agreements, so that the pathway is a little different. It has to be kind of in a separate course. And I'm leaning towards the unusual situation that perhaps I can work with people online through video courses, and can share or initiate people into those practices if they feel like. So you can always drop me a line and I can give you more details. So you can go to my website, pinklotus with 2s's.com, to get in touch with me, or just drop me a line here on Facebook. So let me just read a little more. So Tantra simply is the universal truth embodied in a human form. The secret of sexual energy as a supreme force of spiritual transformation was well known and treasured by those who lived in connection with the earth and nature. The techniques and practice of Tantra vary according to culture, schools, or teachers, but one thing remains. This is a path about embracing and penetrating the luscious fullness of life and erasing any illusion of separation. Some spiritual paths inform us that everything is just an illusion, Maya in Sanskrit. If so, Tantra is about penetrating that illusion fully and completely, experiencing the full flow of life, leaving no stone unturned, bringing the spirit down into the matter until spirit and matter are synonymous. Because matter, creation, life of all is all offspring of the feminine. Tantra is seen as the path of the goddess. Living in a body on earth is living in the realm of she, and that is where we begin. When in lovemaking, woman invites, magnetizes man to consciously penetrate every speck of her being, he, the consciousness of love, merges with she, the energy of love, and real love happens. That is the making of divine love, the essence of all, the fiber of creation. It is her essential body that is made, or that made this alchemy possible, this descent of divinity into form. Tantra represents enlightenment the feminine way. So I guess I'm gonna pause here. This is a really long chapter, and it's my own book, so I'm not reading someone else's words. It just helps me to come back to something in a more organized way, and it also helps me to introduce you my book, because I don't really promote it otherwise. It's parked on Amazon and it's on my website, and the book was written just by the push of the guidance, and I had no choice. And it's actually a very intimate book. It's got a lot of intimate sharings that I never thought I would share, even with my best friend, not to mention with the world. But it's being told that the truth needs to be told, and what I'm sharing in the book is helping us to become more transparent with what really happens, what's happening. So it's no more secrets about me, and I'm writing another sequel right now. So tonight didn't exactly go the way I envisioned. It was very chaotic, but being in a tantric space, we need to say everything is in divine order, and I hope that you received something from what we did today, that gave you a little bit of understanding, or a little bit of feeling what Tantra is about, whether through what I've said or whether through a little practice. I said one experience is worth 1,000 worlds, 1,000 words, and 1,000 worlds. So we're gonna continue. I'm gonna come back with you with another video, and we're gonna do more practices, and maybe a little more reading to complete this particular chapter, and you can ask questions, and the reason I've been really doing these videos is because I'm feeling the world is ready. We are ready. We are ready to step in big numbers into the tantric practice, because that's the practice that will transform the world. We need to fully enter our bodies and embrace all there is. We need to let go, transform that patterning that makes us feel separate, the patterning that makes us hurt one another, the patterning that creates pain and makes war instead of making love and joy and pleasure. So as I said in the beginning, the world is lacking consciousness, and that's why all those sad things are happening. And Tantra is about bringing consciousness into the body, inviting consciousness into the body, and living in joy, living in ecstasy, living in beauty, in the sensual experience of having all senses fulfilled, overflowing, so we can go beyond the senses. So we're weaving all that fibers of creation into one beautiful heart of love. So thank you for spending this time with me tonight, and we're gonna meet again. Namaste.